Do you believe that Senator John McCain is right, Congressman, in talking rather aggressively about a potential military campaign against Iran if they continue with their nuclear program?
I think this is a wider issue and not one that America has to resolve in and of itself. I believe in a limited foreign policy for the United States and seeking out what is best for our own self-interest. We can debate the reasons why we're in Iraq, for instance, all you want. I wasn't here to make the decision. I wasn't in Congress
What
then.
about Iran? You may well be here for that one.
I will. And if there's an imminent threat, a true imminent
What's
threat.
that mean? How do you mean that?
Well, if they have the ability to get nuclear weapons.
The ability to get nuclear weapons.
Well, if they have a nuclear device and they're intent on using it,
how do you know that? How do you know that?
We would have to have intelligence sources.
Yeah, but, so you're for preemptive war, not preventive war. In other words, if you have reason to believe that they're about to launch a missile.
What are you for, Chris? I mean, are you for letting them have a nuclear bomb and try to use it against us and then wait?
Well,
are you for like the Clinton strategy?
That you're trying to use it against. Certainly, anybody that shoots at the United States needs to be destroyed. Okay? Anybody who tries to shoot against us and launches or prepares to launch should be destroyed. That's what we do here. It's called national defense. That's not tricky.
And that's what I believe.
But somewhere down the road, somebody with a weapon that may use it against one of their neighbors is a different question. Do we then intervene militarily, us, the United States? That's my question to you. If they might use it against Israel someday, do we attack them for that?
Sure.
Just for having the weapon?
No, if they're going to use it against Israel,
if
they're going to use it. How do you know about Pakistan, Chris? But look back in '98 when Clinton knew where.
I want you. This is your debate.
Look,
you
Chris,
gentlemen
you're going to invite me on your show. Let me answer a question for God's sakes.
Let me jump in, Patrick, for 1 second. One problem that we have is the genie's gotten out of the bottle as far as nuclear non-proliferation goes. Now, that happened before we got here, and it's unfortunate, but obviously our foreign policy can't be, if there's a potential danger somewhere down the line, we'll intervene. My goodness, we'd be in North Korea if that were the case. We might even be in Pakistan if that were the case. Well, if the radical Islamic fundamentalists took over Pakistan. There's got to be a more nuanced foreign policy than that. Now, the problem is, we're not going to solve Iran ourselves either. All the military experts that you and I both heard from, that our colleagues have heard from, say, if we went into Iran, we wouldn't be able to do enough to stop the nuclear program. We might set it back a few months, they'd start it back all over again. They're a much tougher and stronger military than the Iraqis. We certainly could knock them out in a few weeks. And if you think we've seen chaos and civil war in Iraq, think about what would happen in Iran. The solution would be, if we had enough confidence in this world, to bring the European Union, to bring the Chinese and the Indians to the table, to have genuine, strong economic sanctions.
It goes back to the same question Congressman Henry is addressing. If we can't succeed with things we've failed with before, economic sanctions, diplomatic initiatives, if they don't work,
well, the toughest
and the time comes,
yet,
and you believe they have the weapon, I'm just going to ask you both again, and I'll let you finish. If they have the weapon, is that enough of a reason for us to attack them?
I think so, because they've been intent on using it. Their language is vastly different than what Pakistan said in the 90s about getting a nuclear weapon. It's vastly different than what other countries like India have said when they sought to get a nuclear weapon. And so we have to judge them based on their rhetoric and what they're willing to do.
Patrick,
that is what I'm, if I could finish, Archer. And so we have to be willing to strike to alleviate that problem. I'm not saying invade Iran, I'm not saying that, but a military strike to eliminate their nuclear capability could be a wise thing. I'm not saying that we do it today, because I don't believe Iran is for it.
But their possession of a nuclear weapon is itself justification for a U.S. air attack?
I believe so, yes.
You don't agree with that?
The world's not as simple as that.
But you don't. Can you answer the same question?
No, I don't agree with that. And I think this would be the much better strategy. The better strategy would be to isolate the Iranians economically to the point where the Iranian government feels real pain. We haven't had strong sanctions in place because the European Union, Chinese, and Indians won't come there with us. And if our president had not lost the ability to put together an international coalition in the last 6 years, we could build a strong, united front against Iran. The Bush administration has squandered so much capital in Iraq that we can't get there.
These are the debates we have to have here, Congressman. Thank you very much. I think we have to figure out the rules of engagement. We have to figure out what our strategy is going to be, because these contingencies end up being realities. Right?
I agree with you. And I'll tell you, in Iraq, we need to do much better, and we've got a long way to go.
I'm glad you endorsed the 2008
Thank you very much,
timetable.
Congressman Patrick McHenry, and thank you, Congressman Arthur Davis.